Welcome to the Cayman's Island podcast, where we talk all things San Francisco 49ers. I'm your host, David Cayman. Typically, guys, I would have some sort of little cheeky comment, cue my intro, and then we get into this thing. But based off last night's game, I think it's important for us just to take a deep dive into this loss and break it all down. So let's just get into this thing. Last night on national television at home, the San Francisco 49ers took a really bad loss to the Seattle Seahawks 13-3. I know if you look at the score of the game, it looks like, man, that probably was semi-competitive. If you at all watched the game, you would know that the 49ers absolutely got manhandled in this game. To be honest with you, it was not at all close. The 49ers in the trenches were dominated consistently all night long by the Seattle Seahawks. I would say the only phase where the Niners did better than the Seahawks is simply special teams, and that's because for whatever reason the kicker was trying to keep us in the game and provide us a chance. But even with a couple of bunny missed field goals, this game was not close. So let's go ahead and unpack this thing. Offensively, the 49ers could not do anything at all whatsoever. If you have been watching the channel, watching any of my shows for some time now, I predicted that the 49ers would go 12-5. That's something I predicted before the season even started. I thought that we would have a chance at winning the division as well as definitely making a playoff return. And that's exactly what the Niners have accomplished this season, in the thick of it until the final game. Now, what I have to give the Niners credit for, and even though this loss stings and this loss hurts, let's be honest, faithful, when all these players went down, when Bosa was injured for the season, Fred, Mykel Williams, we knew it was going to be tough sledding to even make the playoffs. And I think what hurts in this situation is that based on the way the Niners had been winning most recently, you started to get that kind of, man, the Niners are like a team of destiny type of feel and vibe. So I think that's why this loss hurts so bad. And the Niners and all the faithful are out there licking their wounds. But I think it's time to put things as best we can into perspective. So going into this game, we knew that the Seattle Seahawks defense was no slouch. They were not a joke, and they were absolutely dominant in this game. Brock was under constant duress, really from start to finish. Brock had a 64.9 QBR, 127 passing yards. He did have an interception, and we're gonna get into that in a minute. What I do want to give Brock credit on is the fact that he did not try to play hero ball. This game could have really gotten away from Brock. I feel I've seen more growth from Brock Purdy in this season than at any point in his NFL career. If this was Brock from last year, 2024, when the pressure of the contract is on him, I really felt like similar to what he did last year, he tried to put the team completely on his back and play a lot of hero ball, force passes in there that he shouldn't. And even though this game was, you could feel the vibe. The offense wasn't doing anything or going anywhere. I'm really proud of Brock, man, for not just completely melting down, throwing multiple interceptions. Even though he was under constant duress, man, he did a good job of holding on to the football. Toward the end of the game, he absolutely, positively got rocked and popped, hand bleeding. Just from what I understand, Brock got a stinger, and he should be fine. And I just hold my breath on stuff like that because you know how our injury reports go. We'll say it was a stinger, and he'll have a sprained hip and be out next year. Who knows? But I'm really proud of Brock for not completely melting down. In my preview show earlier in the week, I felt Christian McCaffrey was going to be the X factor. And I think Christian McCaffrey was the X factor, but for all the wrong reasons. CMC is hard to believe on 8 carries. Only had 8 carries for 23 yards. averaging under 3 yards per carry. Look, Seattle is a good defense, a very good defense. I predicted a 3-point game the 49ers way, and I predicted it to be a very low-scoring game. And that's what we had. We had a very low-scoring game. It's just not whatsoever could the Niners get anything going at all. Ground, pass. I know toward the end of the game, and we're going to get into a bit of that in a minute, but I know toward the end of the game, Brock made some off-schedule plays, drove down the field on Seattle like very easily, got right there for a possible touchdown, and there was a pass that was tipped at the line that hit CMC in the hands. I know it was a tough adjustment. I know it would have been a hard grab, but that's Christian McCaffrey, a top 5 running back in the NFL, best receiving back, period. Best receiving back, period, in the NFL. He will tell you even after the game that he absolutely has to make that play. It is a new game if the Niners score there. I'm not going to sit up here and act, we'll talk about the defense in a second. I'm not fixing to sit up here and act like the Niners were going to do anything to stop that team defensively when it mattered. And if for whatever reason, by a miracle, we tie that game and go into overtime, I have absolutely no confidence in the Niners defense being able to slow Sam Darnold down or really any of the playoff teams that the Niners might have to face, slowing any offense down that we're going to face next week in the playoffs. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and talk about this defense. I know that on paper they gave up 13 points. Guys, this is a defense that allowed 180 rushing yards. This game easily, I know it was 13-3. This game could have easily been 30-3. There was a series and a sequence early in the game where, in my opinion, Sam Darnold had a wide open touchdown pass and for whatever reason got scared and held onto the ball. And you could really tell based on the play calling. I don't feel that the Seahawks trust Sam Darnold. There were several areas where it seems like the Seahawks play calling was really to keep Sam Darnold away from hurting himself. They were able to run the ball at will. Jackson Smith and Jigba had less than 90 yards receiving. And there were some big key plays that the defense made in this game situationally that kind of kept them in it. There were a couple of bunny missed field goals in this game as well where the score could have been even greater. Definitely could have been 19, worst case scenario, 19-3. But when you look at the game situationally, there were 2-3 plays that absolutely happened where you felt this is just not the game for the Niners. That magic feeling that you had from the Bears game where no matter what, the Niners are going to find a way to pull it out. You had the exact opposite feeling in this game. For starters, let's talk about the 4th down and 1 call from Kyle. I was extremely disappointed that Kyle did not call a quarterback sneak. Or you know what? How about you just line up in a power I, hand the ball off to Christian McCaffrey, have Juice block for him, and if it gets blown up, tip your cap, Seattle, you're the better team. They were the better team last night, no doubt. And I'm not sure why we ran a play call where we were basically slinging an out pass all the way to the other side of the field to Juice. I just don't see the play call. That was a huge play there. If the Niners could have just came away with any type of points on that possession, could have been a completely different game. There was a play in the second half where Sam Darnold does Sam Darnold things. Or I'll say this, I'm not going to put it all on Sam Darnold, but he got tripped, fumbled the ball, trying to hand the ball off to the running back, and the ball's just sitting on the ground. And instead of the Niners being able to just jump on it, secure the ball for what would be at least 3 points from Eddie Pinheiro, turns into hitting a 49er in the face, them recovering the ball, and a few plays later. And this is where, to me, this is where you knew I don't care what happens. It's just not the Niners' night. On 3rd down and 17, the Seattle Seahawks are essentially conceding after that fumbled handoff, conceding, saying, hey, we'll just run the ball and we'll punt. The 49ers proceed to give up 19 yards on a 3rd and 17 run that the Seattle Seahawks were simply going to punt the ball on. There were consistent bad defensive plays. The Niners could not tackle at all whatsoever. I like Deommodore Lenoir. He made a absolutely terrific open field tackle that I think saved points in the game. But as far as Demo being that, hey, I want to cover the team's, best receiver, I think Demo is good. I don't think Deommodore Lenoir is that guy that can just sit out on an island by himself and cover the other team's best receiver. With that said, there was a bunch of super soft zone, too high safety stuff all night. And I don't understand it, because to me, it's like, man, let Sam Darnold beat you. I thought for sure this was a game that the Niners would have tried to repeat a similar performance like they did Chicago. Hey, man, Sam throws for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. Shake that man's hand, give him a chest bump, and keep it moving. But I'm going to be as sincere as I can, guys. I know I'm not at all a super duper X's and O's guy. I'm not an NFL head coach, but if I was a Seahawks, I would have ran the ball every single play. Every play. I'm the type of person where if it's working, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. I would have ran the ball every play. And I'm confident the Niners would not have been able to stop that. Seattle was able to sustain multiple clock-chewing drives. Like I said, it was just sheer domination from this team. What I think is funny is the Niners were actually able to get 2 sacks in this game. There were a few times where we were able to apply pressure. We just couldn't set an edge whatsoever or tackle anyone at all in this game. And it's very disheartening. It's a very tough loss. The cool thing is that the season is not over and anything can happen in the NFL, and the Niners do live on to play another game. Another point I wanted to talk about is I'm already seeing ridiculous Brock Purdy hate all over again. Folks saying if Mac Jones would have been in there, it would have been different. And I could not agree. I could not disagree more with that. In fact, I think this is where Brock Purdy's growth was shown the most, with Brock just not absolutely folding over, even with being under constant duress, even with getting absolutely beat up. The man had no help out there. I could not believe the news that Ricky Pearsall was not going to play in this game. I knew it was going to be a bad day when we had no speed out there to stretch the field. I think that wide receiver is going to have to be something that's quickly addressed in the offseason as soon as possible. I like Ricky. When he can get on the field, he is a good wide receiver. He could even be a great wide receiver. But in order for you to be good to great, you got to be able to get on the field, man. And the guy he just can't stay healthy. Maybe when the season's over, we'll find out that Ricky had something really bad in his knee and he's been trying to go and play on that all week. But as far as it goes with Brock Purdy, man, I think Mac Jones being out there would not have made a difference at all. They absolutely dominated both lines of scrimmage all game long. And I keep hearing this narrative, and I want to speak on this narrative. That is, Brock Purdy can only be good on the 49ers. And it's starting to drive me crazy, because if you look at it, guys, and you say, if Brock Purdy had Kenneth Walker III, Zach Charbonnet, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp, do you actually think Brock Purdy wouldn't have done better with that talent? Let's look at some other teams just for fun. We're talking about the Seahawks. How about if Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua played on the 49ers? Just give us one of those guys in that Seattle game. Just one of those dudes. Let's see for fun. Let's talk about the team that the 49ers will probably end up facing, which is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles more than likely. That's what I'm guessing, just because that's how the 49ers season is gone. I always have to do things the hard way. But can you imagine if Brock Purdy played behind the Eagles line and had a Devontae Smith or a Saquon Barkley? I'm just throwing it out there. Again, I love Christian McCaffrey too. I'm just saying, man, folks want to act like Brock couldn't be successful on another team when the man has been balling. Again, he was destroyed this game. I get it. Played against a tough defense. I get it. But if there was some more talent around this guy, he's proven that he's been able to be successful with mid-talent. If you want to sit there and say he had help tonight, or excuse me, not tonight, but yesterday with George Kittle, Kittle wasn't even moving. You could tell Kittle was not at all 100%. So he's out there just trying to make do with what he has. I'm proud of Brock, man. I'm proud of the fact that he did not fold up tonight. And I think he did the absolute best he could. It just was not in the cards. And then going back to that tip pick right there, it's just when Christian fumbled the ball up in the air, it went right to the defender's breadbasket for a turnover. You just knew it wasn't the Niners' night. You got to lick your wounds. You got to regroup. You got to recalibrate. I do have concerns about the injuries at linebacker. I'm not sure if we're going to have to just flat out sign somebody off the street for this playoff game. I haven't kept up with the Niners a lot today. I guess you could say I'm licking my wounds myself from that game last night. Looking ahead, and I want to be clear, faithful, I am right there with you. Diehard 49ers fan for over 30 years. I've seen the best of the best, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, the ugly. I've been there with you guys more than likely for as long as you guys have been fans too. And I'm a faithful for sure, but I'm also a realist. And if you look at this team, for the last few weeks, they've had this team of destiny vibe, and that's great and good. But the reality is this team just doesn't have a Super Bowl caliber roster right now. Again, it's the NFL. Anything can happen. But more than likely, guys, it felt like a strong reality check against the best of the best teams. Is the 49ers defense going to show up? Or is it going to be we're playing against a team that's got a really strong defense where the offense can't carry the team and vice versa? I just think in order for the Niners to do anything, they're going to have to score 30-plus points, and the defense is going to have to play optimistic. The defense is going to have to play in a way where they make that 1, 2, or 3 crucial plays in the game to stop the other team. Again, it's doable, but if I could be honest, do you guys think the Niners have a chance of beating the Eagles when they are a very similar team to the Seahawks that very aggressive defense, controls the line of scrimmage, even with a Ricky Pearsall back or even with a Trent Williams back, those two guys can't play defense. The Eagles have been there. They're the defending Super Bowl champions. I could see Saquon Barkley eating the Niners defense alive this next game. So I don't have a lot of optimistic feelings about it. I don't. I do recognize it's the NFL. Anything can happen. Somebody could get hurt. There's a ton of things that could transpire, but going to Philadelphia, if it's not Philadelphia, going to Chicago, I don't feel good about that. I feel like the only way the Niners have a legitimate shot at this thing is if the 49ers have an opportunity to go play the Panthers, a team that they've already beat. There's nothing really about the Panthers that should scare the 49ers too bad, except for Ted McMillan. But yeah, guys, it's a sobering loss. It's a reality check. Good news is the season's not over. We have another game to play. Hopefully we can get some good injury front news. Ricky can get back out there. Trent can get back out there. Maybe Tatum Bethune isn't as injured as I think he might be. Maybe it's not bad injuries as I think it is for linebacker, and we can do some things. Tell me what you guys think in the comments, man. Do you think the Niners have any chance at all whatsoever of winning one of these playoff games? And if so, how far do you think this team can actually make it in these NFC playoffs? I just want to say, guys, thanks again for your time and watching. Please remember to share the video and subscribe because it really does help the channel. As always, take care, be blessed, and go Niners.